911, what's your emergency?
There's an accident in front of my school. I go to Carter High School.
So you go to Carter High School? Okay. Are there any people injured?
There's like a girl through the windshield, and it's like really, really bad.
Okay, and you're in front of Carter High School, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Blood all over the place.
Okay, how many vehicles are involved, sweetheart?
There's two.
2 vehicles? Are they still in the roadway?
Yes, they're completely messed up.
What's your name?
Brianna.
Brianna?
Yes.
Okay, Brianna, we're going to have the fire and the paramedics and the police on the way to help your friends out, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Read on scene. Frame number 1.
Monica Merriman was born on March 17, 1990. She was the daughter of Eric and Denise Merriman and sister to Matthew Merriman. It was her warm smile and outgoing personality that welcomed her into people's hearts. Because of this, she was proudly able to live up to her nickname, Sunshine, given to her by her deceased father. Her strength was supported by her mother and closest friends. She will be remembered by her love of music and talent for soccer. Her ambition drove her to success, which never allowed any obstacles from stopping her dreams. She strove to become the best at all that she did. An everlasting memory of Monica is her ability to dance and open her extraordinary personality to those she encountered. "Never live your life too short, because you'll never know when it is your time to go," was the quote that Monica lived her life by. With no regrets, just happiness. She will be greatly missed.
This is the deputy coroner. We'll be talking to you about.
Coroner, what happened?
Well, your daughter was a passenger inside the vehicle that crashed. This vehicle right here, and she expired. She died.
Died?
Yes, ma'am. This coroner really helped out. Any questions you have to ask? Any questions you have about Officer Russo, me, Officer Russo, and Officer Shepard? attacked about a chaplain.
We were going to discuss that with you.
One chaplain here.
Pardon me?
Would you like a chaplain here to help you?
Yes.
Okay.
What is your religion?
Catholic.
Catholic?
I can't believe she's gone.
Sorry for the loss of that.
Can I see her? Yes. Veronica.
My name is Officer Russo, okay? Officer 4 is taking you into custody for DUI, right? Now, this is just a real serious offense. Because someone died today, because you were the driver of the vehicle that caused that crash, you're also under arrest of the felony section of vehicular manslaughter. Do you understand? I'll explain everything to your mom, but you're going to be going to the station with Officer 4. Okay? Do you have any questions? Be inside.
This is a trauma activation. We have a 17-year-old female coming by Mercy Air, involved in a motor vehicle accident, ejected 40 feet. Her current DCS is 3. She has a head injury with unequal pupils, a left hip disc fracture, unable to obtain a blood pressure. Heart rate is 140, respiratory rate is 3. They are unable to intubate due to extensive blood in her airway. ET is 3 minutes. Coming by Mercy Air, trauma activation.
Unrestrained driver, head on TC, alcohol involved, conscious, unresponsive, no seatbelt, major damage to both vehicles.
Let's get her inside.
Hello, open your eyes. Open your eyes, hello. Patient's unconscious, not responding.
Let's get her hooked up to the monitor.
Let's give her some. I have no pulse.
Okay, let's go
I
ahead.
have no blood
and
pressure.
start
Let's
Let's bring the bed down a little bit so we can do compressions. Check for a pulse with compressions, please.
Alright, we're in sinus braiding.
She's braiding back down. Check for a pulse.
Guys, we're losing her.
We're losing her.
She's in
Alright, we're going
asystole.
asystole. Let's continue compressions.
Do we have any epi? Let's go epi, 1 milligram, 1 to 10,000. She has a severe head injury, and I don't think that she's going to survive her injuries. At this point, we've been doing CPR on her for the last several minutes, and her heart is not beating on its own. We're currently continuing to push on her chest to make her heart beat, and we're giving her oxygen through a breathing tube that we've put into her airway. You want to go to the bedside?
Yes. I'm here, baby.
Pulse. Patient's still in asystole. I have no
Still not
pulse.
responding.
Nope, no response.
Anybody have anything else they want to do? Anybody?
No.
I'm going to call it. Time of death, 10:07.
Amanda Michelle Jones was born to Kathy and Dennis Jones in Fountain Valley on September 17, 1990. She left behind 2 brothers, Kenny and Garrett Jones, 2 grandmas, 2 grandpas, 1 uncle, 2 aunts, a sister-in-law, and a nephew. She was raised in Anaheim until age 4 when she moved to Rialto. She started playing soccer at age 4 and continued all throughout high school. She joined ASB in the 7th grade, and by her senior year, she held the position of ASB president. She would have graduated with a 3.46 GPA. She would have been attending California State Fullerton in the fall to major in liberal studies, where she has planned to further her knowledge to teach the physically and mentally challenged. She was a very good listener and loved to help people. It's sad to say that she is gone, but she is now in a better place.
How old are you? 16. How much you weigh? And you do not have a driver's license, right? Did you, what is it that you were drinking? Beer in a can?
All right, good afternoon, everybody. We're here on the matter of People of the State of California versus Todd Mason. Could I get your appearances for the record, please?
Adam Kirsch, please.
Waylon Weber for the defense.
All right, we need, where's Mr. Mason?
He's in the back.
All right, we'll have him brought out, please.
Does all collect go and walk him in?
Sir, is Todd Mason your true name, sir? Mr. Mason, you've been charged by the district attorney in a document called an information with the following felony counts. You're charged in count 1 with on or about May 22nd of 2008, the crime of gross vehicular manslaughter while intoxicated in violation of Penal Code Section 191.5A. That is a felony offense. It's alleged the victim is one Amanda Jones. It's alleged that while driving a vehicle in violation of Vehicle Code Sections 23.140, 23.152, and 153, that you approximately caused the death of Amanda Jones. In count 2, it's alleged on the same date, May 22nd, that you committed the offense of gross vehicular manslaughter while intoxicated, also in violation of Penal Code Section 191.5, a felony. It's alleged you committed those same vehicle violations and you caused the death approximately of Monica Merriman. Let me tell you about some rights that you have, sir. You have a right to a public and speedy trial by jury. You have the right of confrontation, which means you have the right to have an attorney appointed to you free of charge to confront and cross-examine any witnesses that may testify against you. You have the right to have witnesses and evidence subpoenaed on your behalf to court. You also have the right to either testify on your own behalf or the right to remain silent. Do you understand those rights, sir? I'm going to ask you, sir, how do you plead to count 1 in the information? Gross vehicular manslaughter while intoxicated for the death of Amanda Jones. And how do you plead to count 2, sir? Gross vehicular manslaughter while intoxicated, violation of Penal Code Section 191.5 for the death of Monica Merriman. Mr. Weber, you join in his pleas?
I do.
Are you prepared to proceed with sentencing this morning?
Yes.
Do you waive range of judgment and sentence?
Yes.
No legal cause?
No legal cause.
All right. Do you wish to be heard on what sentencing range? Mr. Mason, you need to be aware the sentencing range for the charge that you now stand convicted of is 4 years, 6 years, or up to 10 years in state prison for each count, with certain sentencing ranges and rules that apply for the 2 counts. You wish to be heard on sentencing, Mr. Weber?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead, please.
Your Honor, I would just like to advise the court, first of all, he's made a horrible, horrible mistake. And although this horrible mistake has taken the lives of 2 innocent people, I don't think it would be best for this court to basically ruin the life of the third person, that being my client. He's got ties in the community. He's got parents who love him. He's got friends. He's been an excellent student throughout his whole life. He's never been arrested. He's involved in many extracurricular activities. And I think it's also very important that he's taken responsibility for his actions and he's expressed remorse from the beginning. His life is, in a way, already ruined because of the guilt that he's going to have to suffer forever. And I just throw him on the mercy of the court.
Thank you, Mr. Weber. Mr. Pierce.
Your Honor, he may be taking responsibility now, but he wasn't acting responsibility when he was drinking and decided to get behind the wheel of that car. And as a result, 2 innocent people, are dead now. Amanda Jones and Monica Merriman. They were both 17 years old. They had their whole lives to look forward to. Their families had their whole lives to look forward to. And what's left? Nothing. They're both in the ground. Because of what this defendant did. Because this defendant decided he was going to get drunk and he was going to get behind the wheel of a car and he was going to go and drive. And now they're dead. It doesn't matter that he's a good student. It doesn't matter that he was even a decent person before he did this. And it really doesn't matter a whole lot that he has his whole life in front of him because he took the lives of 2 innocent people. Based on that, Your Honor, the people would ask that the defendant do, or that the court do, the one thing in this case that's appropriate, and that's to give him the aggravated term in this matter. The people would submit.
All right. I'd ask you to stand for sentencing, please. Mr. Mason, in addition to the other penalties you're going to receive, I want to tell you that because a motor vehicle is involved, your driving privilege is revoked. You're ordered to pay $2,000 in restitution fines to the state, and that will be taken out of any earnings that you may earn while incarcerated. I'm also going to order you to pay restitution to the victims for any funeral expenses, any medical expenses that may have preceded the death of Amanda Jones, and also as well for Monica Merriman. Under the order of this court, the probation will be denied, and you are sentenced to the aggravated term of 10 years in state prison for the death of Amanda Jones as charged in count 1 as the aggravated term. Pursuant to 1170.1 of the Penal Code, because of the second count under the determinate sentencing law in this state, you'll be sentenced to 2 years, which is 1/3 of the middle term on count 2. That will be consecutive. The total term of imprisonment is 12 years in state prison, and that's the maximum I can sentence you under the law in this case. If I could do more, it would be more. And Mr. Mason, when you are released, you'll be on parole for a period of 3 to 4 years and subject to reincarceration of up to a year at a time for any violations of parole at that time. If at this time, sir, you're remanded to the custody of the sheriff for immediate delivery to the Department of Corrections. Good luck, sir. All right, if you can take Mr. Mason out. Anything else on this matter?
Nothing.
No.
All right, thank you. This court's adjourned. Thank you.
Do you need your glasses to see or just to read? Go ahead and have a seat right there. What's your last name?
Mason.
Oh, introduce Ms. Captain Djonne, one of the parents of the students involved in the accident history.
Good morning. My name is Kathy Jones, and my daughter Amanda was a beautiful, hardworking, and caring young woman. She leaves behind many family members, including brothers, a niece, a nephew, grandparents, and so many more that cared about her. She already had big plans for her future. She was accepted to Cal State Fullerton, where she was also accepted into the Freshman Future Teachers Program. She had planned on teaching kids with special needs and giving back in her community. She was always caring about people around her and wanting to help them, and always did everything to the fullest. She never gave up, no matter how difficult it was, or no matter how much she had to sacrifice personally. She always did everything that she tried to do to the fullest.
Dear Daddy, every 15 minutes a teen dies due to alcohol-related accidents, and sadly, today I died. I never got the chance to tell you how much I appreciated everything you have done for me, and how supportive you have been to me, even when I was wrong. You were there for me right from the start. Remember the time when you taught me how to swim, and you threw me into the pool? You told me I can do it. Well, guess what? I did it, and all because of you. I executed all my endeavors, hoping to make you proud. I hope I succeeded in the end. You mean the world to me, and I hope you knew that. Without you, I wouldn't have been able to stand as tall as I could. Without you, I wouldn't have been able to love as much as I did. And without you, I wouldn't have been able to achieve as much as I did. I always looked up to you, and you never let me down. And I thank you for that. I know I will be greatly missed, but I don't want you to be sad. I will forever be in your heart. I will always be watching over you. I love you. Love, Dina.
Please welcome Dr. Djonne, Rialto Junior High School District.
Every day, children will drive away from home and will not return because of traffic accidents. Every 15 minutes, someone dies as a result of a drunken driving incident. Any student who participated in yesterday's activity and watched it today will remember this experience for years to come. I hope you've all gained some insight about the serious consequences of driving under the influence of alcohol. As you saw, driving under the influence of alcohol not only may get you arrested, but it could cause serious injury and death to others. Every year, we hear about our graduates who have passed away because of accidents that could be prevented. We want you to help us stop this carnage. On behalf of the Board of Education, our Superintendent, Edna Herring, I extend the district's appreciation to everyone who put this program together. The Rialto Police Department, the Rialto Fire Department, Arrowhead Medical Center, the San Bernardino Coroner's Office, Mercy Air, Fontana District Superior Court, and all the other volunteers, parents, and students that came together to make this possible, to show you the effects of making a mistake and drinking while you drive. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Captain Nash Briones from the Rialto Fire Department would like to come up and make a few comments.
Good morning. How many of you in here drive at this point in your life? Raise your hand. Those of you who just raised your hand, look beside you maybe your best friend is here with you. Anybody have a best friend sitting next to them today? Okay, so a lot of you raise your hand. You know, let me tell you something. I didn't have to be here today. Did you hear me? I said, I did not have to be here today. But when I was asked to come, I did pass up the opportunity. Last year was my first year to participate with this program. And let me tell you why it means so much to me. When I was your age, my best friend was killed by a drunk driver. His name was Rod Carlson. And I can show you where he's buried. Buried right here in the Rialto Cemetery. He was in a coffin, looked just like this almost. One of the toughest times in my life. Lose a friend. I had just gotten married, and he was in my wedding party. And he was just about to get married to another good friend of mine. They left his house to go to dinner one night, and he got killed at the intersection of Meridian and Rialto Avenue. I was on duty that night. Luckily for me, probably thanks to God, I didn't go on that call. Been a hard call to deal with. But the medic that I had just let go and trained to go back to his department, San Diego City, was there. It was Mike Smith. And I'll never forget the day I got that phone call that I don't want any of you in this room to get. That your best friend was just killed by a drunk driver. So I challenge you in this room, those of you who raised your hand. If you drive, and someday you find that you've had something to drink, please don't drive. You might kill someone. Instead, what I'd ask you to do is call someone else who hasn't been drinking. Whether it's your parent, whether it's your best friend, a relative, call them and have them come pick you up. But don't get behind the wheel. Because we're here today for one reason, that's because we care about you. The Rialto Police Department, the Rialto Fire Department, and all the city employees care about you. Don't make me do my job. One of the toughest things is to go on a call and see people just like you, injured and hurt, let alone killed. So please, pay attention to what you will be listening here today and learn something from it. And if it just saves one of you, then I've done my job today. Thank you.
Boys and girls, would you please acknowledge my boss, and if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be putting on this program. Chief Mark Kling of the Rialto Police Department.
Good morning, everybody. How are you? You know, when this program first started, the lieutenant had to talk to a few people and say, hey, listen, pay attention, because they weren't. And unfortunately, I'm a realist. I've been doing this job for 28 years, which is certainly a lot longer than most of you who've been here on Earth. So, being a realist, I'm going to talk to you a few minutes about some things that are true. And unfortunately, this is the worst part of all of our jobs collectively. School administrators, your teachers, your parents, certainly having to go through the fact that they may lose a loved one. Fire department, you saw a lot of equipment being used yesterday, the doctors, the people that fly the helicopters. It all looks pretty cool. Remember this in life, whenever that happens, it's not real cool. The only time they airlift somebody, meaning public safety, is when the person probably isn't going to make it or is on the verge of only being saved by paramedics that have split seconds to make a difference. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you some reality right now. This program's been going on for roughly 24 hours, right? Every 15 minutes. I want everybody in this whole section to stand up. Everybody. This whole section right here, stand up. Front to the back. There isn't 100 people in that section. There's 100 seats. Since this program began yesterday at 9 o'clock in the morning, that many people in the United States of America are dead. That many, right there. And add about another 21 people to that, you'll get to where you're at. The time, you can sit down, the time that this program, just today, as you're sitting in here, add another 4 people to it. By the time you get out of school today, you can probably add another 20 or so to that list. So when we started this program today, there was a bunch of jokesters. It's no joke. Look to your left, look to your right, look in front of you, look behind you. Since last night, someone in this room, and you know who they are, got behind the wheel, took the chance while they were driving under the influence of either drugs or alcohol. It happened. Look to your left, look to your right, because I'm a realist. Someone in here, before the end of their life, is going to be in one of these boxes. Because they've made a poor choice to drive under the influence of alcohol and drugs. You may not be the one in the box, but I sure guarantee you, as I'm standing here, you will know someone because they made that poor choice that's going to wind up in one of these before their time should have been. But you know what? You have a difference starting right now today. And I don't stand here to preach. Again, I'm a realist. You can stop that from happening if you simply say no and make the right choice. Because two 17-year-old girls, January of 2006, who's 17 in here? Raise your hand. Everybody 17. Two girls, January of 06. This is funny. I'm gonna laugh in a minute because this is hilarious. I still laugh about it. Went drinking with a soldier in Lytle Creek. They drank and drank and drank. The two young girls fell asleep in the back of the car, made a poor choice. Made a second poor choice by not seatbelting themselves in. The driver, soldier, who knew the two young girls, 80 miles an hour as they hit the embankment that goes over railroad tracks and went airborne, flipped over. The two young girls were ejected and they're dead at 17, right here in the city of Rialto. So when I sit here and say I'm a realist, you have a choice and a certain impact to make a difference on your friends. So you never have to be witness to having your mother come up here and have to explain to your family, your friends, that you're no longer here on earth because you made a really poor choice. And in closing, I'm going to tell you, because I only talk about things that have happened to me in my life. 8 years old. Okay, so if you do the math, that's 42 years ago. So I'm talking about something that happened to me. Drunk driver, out in the middle of the desert on 138. I went through a windshield at 8 years old, and it took me until age 12 to get through all the surgeries, the reconstructive surgeries, the plastic surgeries, the mental trauma, and everything else, just so I can stand here today to tell you, not only do you risk yourselves dying, but you risk hurting everybody else that you're with just because you made a poor choice. And again, it happened just last night. Someone in this room drove while they were under the influence of either alcohol or drugs. So again, I'm not standing up here to preach to you. I don't believe in that. I'm a realist. All I'm simply saying is make the correct choice. If you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to use drugs, don't drive. Have somebody else get you to and from. If you need a ride, don't get into the car with somebody and fall asleep in the back seat thinking that person's going to protect you. They can't. I never want to have to be the police chief or even an adult, a parent, a friend, to have to go maybe to one of your funerals and say, all you need to do is say no. So, on behalf of the Rialto Unified School District, on behalf of the City of Rialto, all the volunteers, Arrowhead Medical Center, the judges, all the staff that put this together, we care about you. That's the message. We care about you. Make the right choice. Take something from this today so you don't wind up in a pine box. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You know, as the chief mentioned about the accident where the truck went over the railroad tracks, a few of us, in fact the fire department personnel were there that morning. We witnessed the two young ladies who were on the ground It wasn't a very pleasant sight. And thank God that we were able to reconstruct this accident scene yesterday, and yes, we saw the role playing of the parents, but thank God those parents didn't see their children there on the pavement, because it was not pretty. Yes, I was there that morning, and this is why we truly believe this, and the ASB kids know that I've talked to them in the classroom, and I'm very passionate about this program because we care. Unfortunately, like Chief, all of us have been around for over 20 plus years. We've seen too many of these accidents happen in the city, and this is why we've reached out to implement this program, because we care. We don't want to see you fall victims of this here. So with that, would you please welcome your principal, Ms. Veronica Iszard Smith.
Good morning, students, and first of all, I want to let you know I'm thankful for two things. One, that we did have the opportunity to have every 15 minutes demonstrated for our school, thanks to the departments and the different agencies that were involved. And Lieutenant Cirillo actually talked to me about this before I got here last year. He was really anxious for this program to be here because he did it at Eisenhower. The second thing that I'm thankful for is that it's a simulation. It isn't real. And maybe that's why some of you were able to chuckle at a few of the dramatizations. But this could be real. And I've talked to you before about how concerned I am about the choices that you make when you leave us, especially over spring break, getting close to the end of the year, celebrating the prom. We have grad night, graduation to go, lots of parties. You can't afford to stop thinking. You have to keep thinking, because that one lapse in judgment can make this real. And I hope as long as I work for the school district or any school that I never have to do a memorial service for real because of that lapse in judgment. This is a real issue in our world, in our society that we live in, and I hope that you walk away today with a more internalized sense of responsibility about driving and consumption of alcohol or any drugs or being under the influence, because you might hurt yourself and someone else and you can't take it back. It's too late. I had an uncle who was walking to get gasoline with a cousin. He was carrying it on a highway and was hit by a drunk driver. The gasoline exploded. By some miracle, my cousin didn't burn, but my uncle burned alive. Horror story. But we're sharing those with you because we want you to never forget to think. So once again, I am very appreciative of the agencies that came together for you to do the simulation. And I also want you to know that I've been very proud of how you handled yesterday and today, for giving them your attention and participating and being excellent. So I'm very proud of you. Thank you.
Would you please welcome Ms. Jenny?
These last 2 days have been hard for me. I'm sorry, I'm going to get emotional, but here's why. Yesterday, I didn't go and see the accident scene. Today, I had to go out during the scene in the emergency room. And here's why. In 1981, my brother was a senior in high school. He had just got an appointment to the Air Force Academy at Colorado Springs. He was an all-state football player, an honor student, had his cap and gown, was ready to graduate. They had a graduation party out at a lake outside my town. Everyone was drinking. He had left his keys in the car that my parents had just purchased for him for graduation. Young lady wanted to ride home. No one would take her home. So guess what she did? She got in my brother's car and started to drive away. He didn't want to see his car drive away, so he jumped in the passenger side and they started toward town. Unfortunately, on the way into town, they had an accident. They weren't wearing seatbelts. They'd both been drinking. She was ejected from the car when it rolled, and she was killed on the highway, face down. My brother stayed in the car for one roll, and he was thrown 75 feet out of the car, landed on his left side, and bounced 25 more feet. My brother broke both legs. He dislocated his left hip. He shattered his pelvic bones. He broke both his arms. He broke all the bones in his left hand and all the bones in the left side of his face, because that's where he landed both times. I had to take my parents to the emergency room because the hospital was in a different place. I'll never, ever forget walking down the hallway and seeing my brother's shoe and a belt and his shirt, because I literally started taking things off him to try to get him into the emergency room. We got there, they said they didn't think there was anything they're going to do, and they had to transport him to another hospital. What do I tell my mom and dad? When they got him to the other hospital, they didn't even know his other arm was broken because the other injuries were so bad. It was a whole week before they took all the gravel and stuff out of the left side of his face because everything else was so bad. The good news? He survived. The bad news is he never went to the Air Force Academy. He never skied again because now his left leg is about 1.5 inches shorter because they couldn't repair it right. He's had his hip replaced. His life became a circle of drugs and alcohol because he couldn't handle what had happened to him. Good news? He's come up out of that, he has a family, and he's doing really well. Now, the reason I came up to tell you all that is that not only did that affect my brother's life, but my whole family was affected by what happened. Just think about your parents going to the hospital day after day after day after day after day. My brother was hospitalized for almost 2 months. The strain it put on my family, my brothers, my sisters, who was going to take care of them? So when you get to that party and you have those beers and you think, I'm all right, I can drive home. Don't get in that car. Find someone else, call your parent. Yeah, they're going to be pissed off. You darn right they are. But they'd rather you call and say, come get me, Mom, than to have to go to the hospital and live through what my parents did. Or worse yet, to have to say goodbye to your children. Does everybody hear what I'm saying to you? Yes. Okay. Because everybody in this room cares about you. And I can't see my kids deal with something like that. Let's graduate. Let's get on with our lives.
Thank you, Ms. Djonne. Students, we appreciate your patience. We thank you for being here. You know, somebody asked me yesterday in the crowd, who's paying for all this? The helicopter? I wasn't going to point you out, but since you raised your hand. Okay? The helicopter, the ambulance, police personnel, all the stuff that's going on out there. Who's paying for that? You know, all this time yesterday, all the expenses were donated because, as Ms. Jenny, as your principal, Ms. Smith, as the chief, fire captain, Dr. Joe Davis, all of us have said that we're doing this because we care. I've told every one of these kids here how passionate I am about this program. As you heard from the principal, we started communicating about this program before she even got here, when she was still at Eisenhower, because we believe in this, because we have been in this job so long that we've seen this over and over and over again. You know the sad part about it? It's going to happen again. Okay? You watch the news. You hold me to this. You watch the news from here all the way to the end of graduation, even after graduation. And unfortunately, we can't have this program at every school, but somebody's going to fall victim to this again. Last year, we had held this program over in Eisenhower. A week later, some of you might have watched the news, might have saw this. Paris high school students graduated, going to celebrate all the way to San Diego. Car rolled over, 3 or 4 kids died, alcohol all over the car. Okay? Just a month ago, a bunch of kids were out celebrating out in Malibu, car rolled over, 3 or 4 of the kids died, alcohol related. Okay? It's going to happen. Okay? And we hope and pray that we've made a little sense today, that you'll take into consideration what we've told you. Boys and girls, students, there are consequences with decisions that you make when you make poor choices. Now, you know what? We're all not perfect. We understand that. You're going to make some bad decisions. We hope that you don't make the decision that's going to impact you for the rest of your life, that's going to ruin your career. And it's like, if you can imagine with me for one moment, and I'm going to close with this. A clear pond, okay? A clear pond. Some of you might have seen this on TV. Visualize with me for a moment. You throw a pebble, throw a rock into the middle of that pond, and you watch the ripple effect that goes through that pond. Okay? Same thing. It impacts you. It impacts a person next to you, beside you, in front of you. It impacts your mom and dad, your brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles, neighbors, kids that have raised you through your childhood, all their family friends. It impacts everyone. It impacts everyone. More importantly, it impacts you because, see, when the student got arrested and he's gone for those 12 years in prison, you can never recover those years back with your loved ones, with your friends. Because when you come out, if you come out, you're a changed person. There is no relationship. You cannot recover those years. It's over with. Your dreams are gone. Your hopes of and ambition are gone. They're gone. You could never recover those. So I know it's kind of funny, you know, some of the stuff, okay, you're role-playing, but you know what, to us, it ain't funny. It's not funny. When we're sitting out there having to investigate, and would you please acknowledge them one more time, please? Rialto staff, would you please stand up? Fire department staff, would you please stand up? Well, it's these men and our volunteers, Judy Roberts, it's these men and women of the Rialto Police Department and Fire Department that are out there working 24 hours around the clock, 7 days a week, because we choose to, because we love what we do to serve this community and to do what's right. And we ask that you would just please consider, before you make that choice, consider the cost, consider the consequences of getting behind the wheel after you've been drinking. Please don't do it. With that, I'd like to close by thanking, again, all the members of the police department, Judge Ferguson from the Fontana Superior Court, San Bernardino County Coroner's Office, the McNearty's Mortuary for the casket, Mercy Air Ambulance, the volunteers. Gabe, you've done a great job in the video. Would you please give a hand to Carter High School, Miss Smith, Principal. Thank you very much for allowing us to come up to your school and put on this program. Arnie, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please join me in clapping for our ASB kids, please? Would you stand up, please? Stand up, stand up. And where's Chloe? Ms. Jefferson. Thank you very much for all your help and for working with us and being patient with us. We thank you for everybody that helped out the program. Thank you very much.